It's time for another podcast by George. Straight talk, straight from the heartland, that'll have you saying, "By George, I think he's got it." Now, here's George.
Hello, hi, how are you? Welcome on back into another podcast by George. Got a special one today, a little bit different. We've been talking to Dr. Andrew Nish from John Stoddard Medical Center for some time about the COVID-19 pandemic. He's our medical expert, and we talked a lot initially about masks and mask wearing. And of course, that's right at the top of the list of what you can do to protect yourself. Social distance, stay home, mostly if you can. But if you got to go out and about, I mean, a mask is absolutely mandatory. I think a lot of people know that. But I've always been somewhat confused about what kind of mask and what should it be made out of and what's the best mask to get. And Dr. Nish gave us some ground rules on that. But today I'm delighted to be talking to the folks from SilverTek, and they've got a new product on the market. It's a mask that I think is a good one. We're going to find out and get details on it. I know one of the people on here I can trust because it's Emily Solo. She's the SilverTek Integrated Marketing Manager, and she's joined by Jimai. Is that Jimai?
Yep.
Okay. Make sure that I get that pronunciation correct.
Perfect.
And from SilverTek, she's the president of this company, and they're moving their marketing into Iowa with this new product. So let me start off here just by welcoming our guest to Podcast by George.
Thank you.
Thanks
so
for
much,
having
George.
us.
And I'm going to embarrass Emily right off the top here. It's my podcast, so I get to do this. I'm going to put this... I'm going to share this up on the screen. I don't know if she's ever seen this photo, but this is a real big deal to me. This is a staff photo from WHO back in the 80s, and I've always liked this. And one of the reasons is Emily's mom's right in the middle. There's Lori with Bob Wilbanks, my mentor from WHO, and you can see next to Lori is the dearly departed Larry Kotler, a friend of ours that was swept away in a flash flood, a tragic accident in Des Moines a few years ago. And there you can see me just off to the side peeking out there, that kind of portly guy. I can't believe that I don't know how I happened to gain or lose that much weight, but I love that photo. And, everybody loved Lori, and that's who Bob's got his arm around Lori. Emily, your mom, whenever I look at that picture, the one thing I always remember about her is her hair. My God, that woman had fantastic hair. The reason I remember that is because I don't have any. Did you inherit her hair?
I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it. Yeah.
Well, she helped set up this interview, so I mean, that's okay. We'll get that off the screen. I mean, I honestly got it. Emily's dad, Jim, and mom, Lori. One reason they're so near and dear to my heart, my sister was dying of ALS. I don't even know if Emily knows this, but I kind of sent out an all-call for a fundraiser for the ALS Foundation. I had a hockey game that I played in that we sold tickets to that was tied in with the American Hockey League affiliate here in Des Moines, and then we had a fundraiser party. And, I mean, folks, you want to know who your friends are, do something like that and see who comes running. Well, Jim and Lori did. So, I mean, I owe them a big one, and just maybe doing this podcast is a little bit of that. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Let me go back here and share this back on the screen again because I want to talk about the mask itself. And I suppose that, Emily, you had a little bit to do with putting this graphic together or how this is marketed, but the number one thing that jumps out at me about this product, other than the technical stuff that we'll get at, is you got to wear the mask for it to be effective. And for me personally, the thing has got to fit. It's got to stay up on my nose. I've always had a problem with that. And I notice here at the top left, it says adjustable nose piece creates soft and snug fit that doesn't fog glasses. And I mean, that stuff is all important if somebody's going to get and then use a mask. And so that had to be a primary point in your design for this product. And from a marketing perspective, which I did for a few years, the inverted six, you always start in the top left of a graphic. And I know that's in the top left, so I guess I'll open it up right there. If you guys could, either one of you could talk about that part of the design.
Yeah. That part of the design is part of a very well thought through product overall.
Absolutely. We started actually. SilverTek is based in the U.S. and we are committed. We're one of the premier health tech wearable companies in the U.S. Think of us as a health tech wearable company, just like Nike is to athletic shoes. So we think through a lot our design. This mask was created and evolved over 50 iterations. Our lead designer is a physical therapist. So that's just one part of how the mask is designed. I think our key attributes on the mask are fit, form, and function. And so the nose piece is extremely important because it stays flush to the face. And you notice that when you see a lot of mask wearers, it doesn't stay flush to the face. It
Yeah.
the face, or it's too big and it's too baggy. Every mask has to be, for it to work, it has to fit the face well, and that's why we have 6 unique sizes for both adults and children to wear it well.
Yeah, so just like you pointed out with that adjustable nose piece, it has been well designed, extremely well thought out, and with that sizing, designed properly to fit lots of different types of faces. So, just like with shoes, like we wouldn't expect everyone to have the same shoe size. Everyone's feet are different, and how much more different are our faces. So our fit incorporates this nose piece that's actually cushioned in kind of like a scuba fabric for comfort and function. And when it's fit properly, in fact, I'll show you with mine.
Yeah, we'll show you with ours.
You put it on.
Yeah.
You just pinch it at the nose,
Right.
and it goes all the way down here. You can see how snug it fits on the cheeks.
Yes.
And the nose bridge. And that's why it doesn't fog glasses, because your exhale isn't going up into your eyes.
Right.
It's directed from not going up.
And if you'll see some of the other masks on the market, this is a mask that is pretty popular on the market as well. The first thing I noticed as I'm putting this on, the nose bridge is not well designed, so it's going into my eyes. But if you
Yeah.
look at the guts of the mask, it wasn't even important to them to put on something that was comfortable. I actually had to tape this on. This was like a tape on, sort of a 3M tape on, and the wire is going into my eyes when I'm wearing it.
Wow.
Versus ours is incorporated in and cushioned by proprietary scuba gear so that it is water and it's airtight.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where I wanted to start because, you got a word that didn't do any good at all. But this, besides just the fit of the mask, this thing is really high tech. I mean, it kind of jumped off the page at me because I'm looking at this and I'm flashing back to when I had Dr. Nish on. He said, well, what you want to have more than one layer in your mask, and you want to have maybe more than one fabric, and you can look at cloth and you can look at polyesters and those types of things, and then then you start to go down the food chain a little bit. You can end up with a gaiter, and you can end up with a bandana. And when you get into that world, you might as well just be putting your hand up in front of your face because they're not doing much good at all. But this thing has something in it. You got to tell me, it's got something to do with silver, right?
Yes. It's protected by Viraloft technology. Viraloft technology is made by a company based out of Sweden. They're an extremely reputable company, and the treatment itself is made out of recycled silver. Recycled silver has these unique properties that it actually kills viruses, and we've been scientifically proven by the international ISO, which is the international testing method, to kill viruses, 99% of viruses, within 2 hours. Many viruses, including the flu, the H1N1, and also most recently, it was confirmed that the Viraloft technology on this mask protects the mask so that it kills COVID as well, the virus that causes COVID.
SARS-CoV-2.
SARS-CoV-2.
So it fits.
We tested against that.
Yes.
It fits. It works very well. But the other knock against masks are I see people grabbing them all the time, so they're getting dirty all the time, and so then they're either disposable or they've got to be washed all the time. And again, that kind of denigrates or degrades the practicality of a mask, because if I've got to wash it every night and get up and put it on the next morning, I'm not likely to do that. I got to be honest with you.
Right.
But a mask like this, it's a lower maintenance type product. Is that correct?
You're completely right. I mean, I have, just as an example, like a surgical mask here, which we see a lot of people wearing. If I take this off of my face and touch it like this, like I see a lot of people doing, it is a huge cross-contamination issue.
Yeah.
People don't realize that all the things that this is supposed to be protecting you from are getting caught on the mask. And when you touch it, you've now put that on your hands. And then, of course, with cloth masks, like you mentioned, you have to wash those daily, at least. Big waste of time and energy. With our mask, because of that viral off treatment, you don't have to wash it. It reduces the need to do so. It's essentially self-cleaning, self-sanitizing.
Well, there's another big reason, another big benefit to that, and I'll give you this little story. I ride a bike. It's how I keep from looking like the jelly donut that was in that picture that we looked at earlier. And I ride about 30 miles, and only about a mile of that is on a paved surface, a very small, not very heavily traveled highway. Well, I walked it the other day, and there's literally 3 discarded masks on the roadside within a mile of that. And I don't know if they blew out of the back of pickups or how they got there or whatever, but people are discarding these masks, and because of the material that they're made out of, they're extremely harmful to the environment. But that's something else that this SilverTek product has going for it.
Absolutely, George. You're absolutely right. Masks, disposable masks, are actually made from non-biodegradable plastic. Many people don't know that. It looks like it's paper, but it's actually plastic. It's non-biodegradable. Currently, because of the pandemic, the amount of disposable PPE we use is taking over Mother Nature. So we look at the stats. This is from the Financial Times. There are 129 billion masks each week that we use that are disposable and are non-biodegradable.
Wow.
That means by the end of the year, we as human beings will have put 6.7 trillion disposable masks into non-biodegradable disposable masks into our landfills. And they're going into the stomachs of marine life. They're affecting our environment in so many different ways.
And it's completely unnecessary. It's not like you need a mask like that. I mean, you know, if you dispose of it every day, then you get a fresh one every morning. But if you've got a product that's made to be used and reused, you never have to deal with it. I mean, I really like that angle. And I saw that. I saw the high-tech stuff, and I thought I saw the environmental friendly angle. And then I thought, oh, God, all of these things combined, this mask's probably going to cost, I mean, this thing's going to really set me back. No, these masks are actually affordable. I mean, you're not going to go broke buying one, right?
Absolutely. And when you have one good mask, that's the only one you keep. So that's the only one you need to buy. We often meet people at our demonstrations where they say, oh, I've got 30 masks in my drawer and I hate them all and I've been trying to change them. And often after they wear our mask and they buy our mask, it's the only mask they'll wear. And so they only need one. So proper design is not just good for comfort, but proper design is good for our environment. Because even if you have 30 cotton masks, they're still taxing our environment. 30 masks versus one mask that you don't have to wash. Absolutely. And it looks good.
Yeah, it does. I could see that. I saw that when you put it on. I mean, it looks great. And, you know, even with the vaccines, and we've talked a lot about that on the podcast that are coming out, people are going to have to do these things. We're going to continue to have to wear masks, socially distance, stay at home when possible. This thing is not going to be behind us, I don't know, maybe until this time next year, and maybe, well, who knows? So, you know, SilverTek is out there. It's rolling out. It's, you know, coming to a neighborhood near you. What's the status of the marketing of it now?
Sure. So we've been we started out in the New York metropolitan area. We've been extremely successful. We've been carried by over 30 stores across the U.S. We've gotten interest internationally. And within the Midwest, of course, Hy-Vee takes the lead and finds our product. And it is currently on shelves at Hy-Vee now. It's going to be rolling out in 5 Hy-Vees over the next week, but we are already at the Westlakes Hy-Vee and the
Waukee Hy-Vee.
Waukee Hy-Vee.
And we expect to be very shortly in the Ankeny stores and other ones in the Des Moines metro area very soon.
That's great. So it's hot in the heartland. So let me let me put this back up again because this is my little primer on it and how I best keep track of it. Okay, so the thing has got the adjustable nose piece. It fits. You'll wear it. It's got this microbial. It's got this high-tech fabric material in it that works, and it's scientifically proven. It's not just marketing. And I like the fact that it allows you to breathe inside of it. We didn't talk about that very much, but the other mask, I see people when they breathe, they actually breathe the mask partially into their mouth, in and out. This thing has like a little pocket, it allows for better breathing.
When I put on this surgical mask, for one, I'm a small face person, and you can see just right off the bat these horrible gaps, which are obviously really ineffective for blocking harmful particles.
Yeah.
But also when I breathe, it is like sucking into my mouth. I don't know if you can see it on the video.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to speak as well. Even if I try to make this tighter to my face, I see some people, pulling their masks. I still have huge gaps here that are just really inefficient for doing what this mask is supposed to do.
Yeah, and here's another mask. One of my biggest pet peeves about wearing other masks on the market is it gets into your eyes, it gets into your mouth when you speak, it gets into your nostrils. So
right.
Wearing it for an hour, your mask is wet. And I've heard many moms say, I see my kids come home and they've got this like wet spot in the middle of their mouth. And that's certainly not going to keep any viruses out. And it's actually a breeding ground for bacteria. And that's why so many mask wearers are getting mask acne. So if you think about it, the mask is supposed to protect us, but if you're not wearing it right or you're salivating into it, you're actually just putting bacteria right up against your face. So that's not helpful. So this is another mask. But notice how... So I can choose, as I always say, I can choose to talk or breathe, but I'm not...
I can't do both.
And breathe at the same time. Otherwise, I'll be hyperventilating. Yeah, and it's extremely important, especially if you're going to work out, or even for the folks that don't want to wear masks. We have to wear masks, and so to be able to breathe well, and it's a certain level of well-being that we have to have.
Yeah, for the times when you have to wear one, you might as well be comfortable.
Yeah, and let's save the disposables for our frontline workers, for the people that really need them, and still protect our environment while we're protecting ourselves.
Yeah, actually, on that note, frontline workers, medical professionals are trained in protocols of how to properly wear and handle their surgical masks and the medical N95s. I see a lot of citizens, trying to protect themselves by wearing surgicals and N95s, but they're really not aware of how to dispose of them properly, how often they should be switching out their masks, etc. These masks are really only effective, these surgicals and the N95s as well, they're really only effective for about an hour at a time. So if you see people, hanging on to these for weeks, I see them like dangling from their
yes,
car rear view.
I see it too. Yeah,
it's just like having a little cesspool, It really is that you're repeatedly putting back onto your face.
Oh, that's great.
Scientifically, George, is that the type of filtration in surgicals and N95s, it relies on static electricity to catch those harmful particles. So out in the air, we have condensation just naturally, and also the condensation from our breath, like that wetness sometimes Jime was talking about.
Yeah.
So these are rendered ineffective much more quickly than people realize. And our design team knew that, figured that out in our design process. So we actually have replaceable advanced nanofiber filters inside our mask. So in addition to that antimicrobial on the fabric itself, on the inside, we have these nanofiber filters, which do not rely on static electricity to function. It's a mechanical filtration, so they last significantly longer than traditional filters and masks.
And that's another part of our mask being advanced is that we used nanotechnology to be able to put together this filter so that it's mechanically fine enough to filter out particles without relying on static electricity.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the deal maker for me because, I mean, a mask is a mask, and most of them are very similar, and they all have some of the same downfalls and pitfalls, but this is the nano mask, and it's from SilverTek, folks, and it's got that antimicrobial treatment, and it's scientifically proven to reduce the virus COVID by 99% within 2 hours. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And
that's
George,
unbelievable. I mean, that's great.
Really taken off in the New York metropolitan area. Number one, because of design, right? Because now that we have to wear masks, for fashion forward folks want to look good when they're wearing a mask. Two is it provides protection better than any other mask out in the market. But three, which is interesting, is a lot of healthcare workers love wearing our masks during their civilian lives. We've gotten so many comments from dentists, doctors, a doctor who's worked in a surgical room for the last 30 years, telling us, I can't wait to rip off my N95s because they're not comfortable. They ride up on my eyes and I have to wear it for work to protect myself. But I switch it out every hour. I switch it out between patients. When I'm going to the grocery store, this is from what the doctors and dentists are telling us, when they're going to the grocery store, they would rather wear our mask than any other mask, and they get their mask for free, and they're still buying our mask to wear.
Fantastic. I mean, it's a great product. I'm excited. What I'm really excited about is I want to give it a try out on the ice. I want to see if I can play hockey in one because of the improved fit. Yeah, and so that I don't have to be fiddling with it and grabbing it all the time because you got hockey gloves on and you can't do it even if you want to. So I'm excited to give that a try. Well, thanks so much for coming on Podcast by George, folks. Joining us today is Jeanne, the president of SilverTek, and Emily Solo, the SilverTek Integrated Marketing Manager. Emily, I got to tell you, my headphones, I was listening while you're talking. I can hear your mom's voice. I mean, literally. I mean, that's genetic. I can hear her voice in yours. That's just absolutely great. I'll give you a last word here. Anything you want to say in close as we wrap up, and maybe the website address where people can order and find the product and some other basics like that.
Yeah. Our website is silvertechusa.com. Tech is spelled like TEK. You can find us right now at the West Lakes Hy-Vee and the Waukee Hy-Vee, very shortly in many other Hy-Vees in the health market section or up front by the registers. And we'd love to connect with everyone. If anyone has questions, find us on Facebook, SilverTek, or Instagram, SilverTek USA. And we look forward to chatting with people and sharing this product with them so that they can protect themselves and other people more comfortably and more effectively.
That's perfect. That's great. Folks, I hope you enjoyed this. I think it's been informational. I think we've learned something here, and, I'm going to be a proud supporter of SilverTek from now on. Thanks again for coming on Podcast by George.
Thanks,
so much,
George.
And if you like this, folks, please go to podcastbygeorge.com and choose a platform. You can pick a little badge, a little icon there. Once you do that, you'll be notified of each and every new podcast when it releases. It couldn't be easier, and it's better than trying to search and find us on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. Just subscribe, ring the notification bell on YouTube, and you'll get every PBG. But that's going to wrap it up. That's going to do it. That's all there is, and there ain't no more. That's another podcast by George.